The twin sons of Vorthal rose like molten coins over a land built on honor and war. Hey, every scar was a story, and every story began at the trial of the sword, a ceremony older than the stars themselves. For generations, the strongest of alien clans had gathered in a great stone arena where the legendary sword of Valerian stood embedded in crystal. It was said the sword had chosen no one for over 1,000 years. And today, the tradition would repeat again, another 100 warriors, another 100 failures. The crowd thundered with chants, armor clanging, banners fluttering under the dry wind. High above, judges watched from marble towers. They called it a holy day, outsiders called it madness. But somewhere in the corner of that spectacle, one very confused human was trying to fix a broken translator. Ethan Cole, former mechanic, accidental crash survivor, and professional wrong place, wrong time human, had landed on Vorthal 3 weeks ago when his ship's core overloaded. Since then, he'd been mistaken for a rare alien subspecies, nearly worshipped by locals, and force-fed something called lava soup. None of it made sense. He just wanted to go home. So when a group of armored guards dragged him into the arena as a foreign witness, he thought they were joking. But as the crowd parted and that massive sword shimmered under sunlight, something inside him hummed. He watched as one alien after another tried to lift the blade, muscles straining, energy cracking, bones breaking. And then someone shoved him forward. "Let the outsider try," a voice sneered. Ethan blinked. "Oh no, I'm good, really." But before he could finish, he stumbled, caught his balance, and placed a hand on the pedestal. The ground shook. The sword began to vibrate, light crawling up the blade like living fire. The air went silent. Ethan froze, heart hammering. Was it supposed to do that? Then, with a sound like thunder splitting the sky, the sword of Valerian rose from the stone and flew into his hand. The crowd gasped. The runes ignited. And for the first time in history, the sword had chosen. Silence swept across the arena like a living thing. Thousands of alien eyes fixed on the trembling human who now held the impossible. The sword of Valerian pulsed with light in Ethan's hand, its energy dancing along his arm like wildfire. He stared at it, wide-eyed, trying not to drop it. "Okay," he whispered, voice shaky. "This is either a dream, or I'm about to explode." The crowd erupted, some cheering, some screaming blasphemy. Warriors who trained their entire lives fell to their knees in disbelief. The high priest began chanting ancient verses, their voices echoing off the stone walls. And amid the chaos, guards rushed forward, surrounding Ethan as if he were both a miracle and a threat. Within hours, he was taken to the Citadel of Crowns, the most sacred fortress on Vorthal. The halls glittered with alien gold, lined with floating holograms of past champions, all who had failed to lift the sword. Now, his face appeared among them. Ethan sat in a vast council chamber, sword still humming faintly beside him. Around him, the planet's most powerful beings argued. Priests saw him as a divine sign. Generals saw him as a weapon. "He must lead our armies," one barked. "He defies the laws of the flame," another shouted. Ethan raised his hand. "Hey, quick question. Where's the exit?" Laughter didn't follow. The tension in the room was thick enough to crush him. Then she appeared, Tirala, a historian draped in blue silk and quiet confidence. Unlike the others, she didn't bow or glare. She simply studied him. "You're human," she said softly, her voice almost curious. "Last time I checked," Ethan replied, "though honestly, I'm starting to doubt it." She smiled faintly, a rare expression among her people. "The sword reacts to your emotions," she said. "It glows when you speak. It's connected to you." Before Ethan could respond, the sword sparked violently, sending a burst of energy through the chamber. The ground trembled, lights flickered, and in the distance, the ancient flame towers of the citadel ignited for the first time in centuries. Everyone froze. The prophecy had begun, and somewhere deep beneath the planet's surface, something old had awakened. The night after the citadel trembled, Vorthal no longer slept. From the mountains to the oceans, the sword's awakening sent ripples through the planet's energy veins. The sky shimmered with strange auroras, and whispers of an ancient prophecy spread like wildfire. Ethan hadn't moved in hours. He sat on a marble balcony overlooking the alien city, sword resting beside him. He could still feel it humming faintly, as if it were breathing. He didn't understand why it had chosen him. He wasn't noble, brave, or even particularly lucky. He was just human. Tirala approached quietly, her silver eyes reflecting the twin moons. The last time the sword awakened, she said, entire civilizations rose and fell. It's not just a weapon, Ethan, it's a voice. He turned to her, half laughing. Well, it's a terrible conversationalist. It keeps whispering weird things in my head. The flame returns, whatever that means. Her gaze sharpened. The flame core, she murmured. The source of all life energy. Legends say whoever holds a sword can either awaken it or destroy it. Ethan frowned. You're telling me this thing is basically the universe's power button? Great. No pressure. Tirala's tone softened. It chose you because you don't seek power. You seek understanding. That's something my people lost long ago. Before he could respond, the alarms of the citadel blared. Doors burst open, soldiers shouting, energy rifles raised. Here's a fraud, a general screamed. The sword's power is destabilizing the core. If we don't act now, our world will collapse. Tirala grabbed Ethan's arm. We have to leave. Now. They raced through glowing corridors as explosions shook the citadel. Ethan barely kept up, sword sparking wildly at his side. Outside, the night sky burned orange, alien ships clashing overhead. As they fled toward the ancient ruins beyond the city, Ethan looked back once. The great towers of Vorthal, proud and eternal, were crumbling under their own light. He didn't know where they were heading or why this was happening. He just knew one thing. Whatever had chosen him wasn't done yet. The desert stretched endlessly ahead, a wasteland of broken stone and dying light. Ethan and Tirala moved through the ruins in silence, chased by smoke from the burning citadel behind them. Every sound echoed, the crunch of sand under boots, the low hum of the sword that refused to sleep. Days passed like a fever dream. Tirala guided them through forgotten temples, decoding ancient murals that showed the same blade Ethan now carried. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a seal, a lock meant to guard something beneath the planet's surface. One night, as they rested near an abandoned shrine, a familiar voice echoed through the dark. So, this is the chosen one. From the shadows stepped Lord Vika, the Empire's highest general, the same warrior who had once sworn to protect the flame. His armor glowed crimson, his expression cold and hungry. Tirala froze. Vika, you swore to defend the prophecy, not twist it. He smirked. The prophecy was never about destiny. It was about control. The sword is the key, and I will use it to claim the flame. Before Ethan could react, Vika struck. Energy beams lit the night as soldiers surrounded them. Tirala pushed Ethan aside, deflecting a blast that would have ended him. He shouted her name, but the world blurred into chaos. Ethan fought clumsily, blocking with instinct more than skill. Each swing of the sword fell heavier, angrier, as if it senses fear. The air pulsed with power, lightning cracking against stone. But in the confusion, Vika seized his moment. A sudden blast threw Ethan across the ground. The sword ripped from his hand, flying straight into Vika's grasp. For a heartbeat, the world went silent. Then the blade turned black. Vika laughed, his eyes glowing with corrupted energy. The sword obeys strength, not heart. Tirala crawled toward Ethan, blood streaking her cheek. No, she whispered. It obeys truth. The ground trembled violently as Vika raised a corrupted sword toward the horizon. A dark vortex began to form above them, the flame core awakening in rage. Ethan's chest tightened. For the first time, he wasn't afraid of dying. He was afraid of failing. And he knew, deep down, the sword wasn't lost. It was waiting for him to believe. The world was ending in color and fire. The sky tore apart as a flame core awakened, flooding the ruins with blinding light. Energy storms twisted through the air, ripping ancient towers from their roots. In the center of it all stood Lord Vika, the sword now a blade of darkness in his grip, feeding on rage and greed. Ethan lay half buried in debris, blood in his mouth, lungs burning. He could feel the sword calling to him, softly, desperately, beneath the raw destruction. Across the shattered stone, Tirala struggled to stand, reaching toward him. Ethan, She shouted over the storm, "The sword isn't his. It's yours. It always was." He forced himself up, staggering forward. Every step felt heavier than the last. The wind tore at him, slicing across his skin, but he didn't stop. Vika turned, laughing, energy blazing around him. "You think your fragile body can stop destiny, human?" Ethan smirked weakly, wiping dust from his eyes. "I don't stop destiny," he said. "I fix what it breaks." The corrupted blade screamed as Ethan stretched out his hand. Light burst from his chest, pure, blinding, human light. The sword trembled, twisted free from Vika's grasp, and shot back to Ethan like lightning returning to the sky. The moment his fingers closed around the hilt, the black energy vanished. The sword burned blue again, alive with ancient fire. Ethan raised it high, and for a single heartbeat, everything went still. Then the world erupted. The energy wave spread outward, cleansing the storm, mending the broken towers, silencing the chaos. Vika disintegrated into dust, his armor falling empty to the ground. The sword pulsed one last time, its voice echoing faintly inside Ethan's mind. The flame is restored, and so are they. When the light faded, only silence remained. Tirala found him standing in the center of a vast crater, the sword now dull and lifeless in his hand. He smiled faintly. Guess it didn't need a hero, just someone dumb enough to care. Moments later, he dissolved into light, his essence merging with the flame core. Centuries later, when new worlds were born, alien children would point to a bright star in the night sky and whisper, "That's the human star, the one who lifted the impossible." And the legend lived on.